Hello, welcome to the Rich and Simple Living. My name's Maria. If you're new here, I vlog mainly about homeschooling, urban homesteading and home life, which is normally cooking in my air fryer. Excuse the light, I'm trying to wiggle a bit, but I seem to have light coming at me there, so just have to excuse that. I can't seem to get out of it. Anyway, today's video vlog is about homeschooling. We're covering homeschooling, and what I thought would do, because Sean's coming up now toward the end of Key Stage 3, which is the end of year 7, 8, 9. I have to think about that, because when I was at school, secondary school started from like year 1. So I have to think about it now. So she's coming up toward the end of year 9, because those of you who've followed for a while know that Sean has the same holidays and everything like the schools do, so she can catch up with friends. So she's got, a couple more months now of year 9. So I thought what we'd do, we'd go over the Key Stage 3, starting from when we first started homeschooling in year 7. So today I thought we'd have a look at what we did when we first started homeschooling in year 7. And I'll just show you some of the books we used and tell you briefly about things and how it all went. So when we first started homeschooling in year 7, because Sean had been to primary school before that, we started with great gusto and was really ready for it and bought all the books and everything and replicated school really. And that did have its drawbacks, as you'll see as I'll show you the books. So first of all, I will show you the problems. We'll show you what she did for maths. Now, there's a stack of maths books. Now, it's not all year 7. Do you know, I really could do with getting out of this light a bit. Don't know if that helps. We just have to make do with how we can. Yeah, like I was saying, some of these books went through into year 8 and she finished them in year 9. These have all come from the finished boxes. I keep tubs like these. I'll just show you and you can see what's written on the front. There we go, look. I keep tubs like that. I've got a couple of them, and as she finishes books, I pop them into the tub and I keep them. So if we have to show anybody what work she's done or whatnot, I've got all the backlog of work right from when she started in year 7. Anyway, like I said, these are the maths. They weren't all finished in year 7, like I was just saying. They carried over, but some of them were chucked into the box before we'd even finished them. I'm going to keep wiggling around, aren't I? So we started with some of these Schofield and Sims books. These were the very first ones that I bought. And they're all different: mental arithmetic, times tables problems, times tables tests, fractions. So basically we were covering everything like she covered at school. But, I also threw in, it was an age 7 to 9, but it was just a fun book that we got given. And so we threw that in as well, a maths word search book, which was quite good because she liked doing word searches. But we soon hit problems with these books. They were very difficult to do. You had to go online to find answers or how to work them out. They were very difficult. So, as you can see, a lot of them weren't done. We got so stressed. And I kept thinking, we've got to be like school. And Sean was getting stressed and I was getting stressed that I was doing it all wrong. I mean, some of them are just so complicated. And not being able to find any answers. Because sometimes you can look at an answer, you might have an idea about something, you look at an answer and think, yeah, my idea was right. Or, yeah, I can see how that's got to that. Or there was no workings out even how to get your answer. So these books, that was the last pages she did. And as you can see, she only did a few. So we discarded them into the book box. I think same with the mental arithmetic. That went. I think she did finish this one. These were the times tables practice. And I think it's important to do tables. That's something to go over regularly. And we still do. We still do go over them every so often because it's important to know them. Because when you want to think of something off the top of your head, so many times something, it's good to learn them because it just sits in your head then without you even realising it. So she did finish that book and she did enjoy that book. Again, we did another times table test one, which we got to the end of. We did that one and enjoyed it. Yeah, I think that one went over into year 8, but we'll go through year 8 things next week. But this is just year 7. Now, in year 7, she did this maths, like I was just saying. Nice and easy, quite simple. She loved doing word searches, and they were just good to do. And it was good to get her thinking and keep her warmed up, sort of thing. So we went through that. I think somebody got me them from Poundland. I had another matching book with it. Not maths, though. But because we had all these issues with maths, and you probably, if you've seen the very beginning of my videos, you'd have seen how stressed we got. I then went and bought these blue maths books, Humble Maths, I think they're called Humble Maths. Now, you've probably seen me show a few of these recently because I bought a couple more for her to do. One she's working on at the moment, which I'll show you in a couple of weeks, and another one that she's got ready lined up for Key Stage 4. I did show you that one a couple of weeks ago. It was like business maths, financial type maths, and I did show you that a few weeks ago, but we'll recap all that at the start of September anyway, what she'll be doing then. So anyway, like I say, we went on to these, Humble Maths. These have all got completed. Some of them have only recently finished being completed. We did money, fractions, telling the time, because that's something Sean didn't understand when we first started. She didn't understand money and she didn't understand telling the time. She could do it on digital, but not analogue. Now she can. She can do the money and the time telling. So I think these books have helped a great deal. And we sort of did a couple each day. So we've done all of them and she completed them. Probably when we do year 8, you'll probably be going over a few of these things. We did German, Key Stage 3 German, that had a study guide and a workbook. Now, we're talking about German at the moment. Does she want to continue it? Because at this year, she's not really doing it from a study book, but we'll cover that in a few weeks. So I'm looking at GCSE books at the minute. She did art, independently did art, which did quite a lot of art. What she did, she created flags, made her own countries up, created her own flags and wrote stories about the character that she drew. And that's what she did for art. So they were really good. She did science, but she wasn't so keen on this. This is a year 7 Collins science book. As you can see, we struggled. It was all question marks. I'd just leave what you can't do. Look at answers as well. Let's see if it makes sense to you. But she didn't really get on with it and didn't like it. So we didn't bother with the year 8 one. But we did get another book, which you'll see next week. She went on to the Key Stage 3 Geography. This was an all-in-one revision and practice book, which is really good. I've showed you these books before where you do the reading and then there's question pages and little knowledge boxes at the end. So she wrote the knowledge questions into a notebook, workbook, and did the answers from there. So she did that. So that covered more than year 7. Same with history. She did the Key Stage 3 history, which is the same again, like the geography book, all in one revision and workbook. So she did all that. And it's quite good because not at the end, I think there was workbooks at the end as well. I think mixed tests and workbooks. And for the knowledge questions, again, she had a notebook. We have some fancy notebooks. When we started in year 7, we didn't buy notebooks specifically. We just used books that she brought back from school. Because you know when you're in school, the end of term, they make you take all the books home. Some of them you might have only written in a couple of pages. So we sort of salvaged them, ripped the pages out that she'd written, and so we left the blank book. And then we scouted the house for notebooks that she hadn't used. So we got fancy ones as well. But yeah, that's what she did for history. Just wrote them in notebooks like that. For the knowledge bits, practice questions, I've got space to write them in anyway. So we've done that. Now we went on to English. We did a few different English books. And yes, she did do all of them. She took an interest in the latter stage of year 7 in Vikings. I'll show you why she took an interest in a minute. Some of you probably know, you probably saw the episode. But she took an interest in that. So we got a Viking book, study book and a activity book. They did loads of these. There's loads to go through. They're really designed for Key Stage 2, but she was in year 7, which was like only 1 year above it. So I thought, it doesn't matter. And if you're interested in it and you're getting something from it, why worry about the age of it? Never worry about the age of something. So she did that. I got some of these Schofield and Sims books. This was comprehension. So just an example where that's a poem, I think, where you'd read the poem and then answer questions on it. So that was like that all the way through. Snippets of stories and poems. That was really good. She enjoyed doing that. So she did that book. And like I was saying before, she's into word searches. So I bought a word search book for 12 to 15-year-olds, which was really good. So she did that. Thought that was great for English because we didn't do spellings. At primary school, she did spellings, but we didn't carry on doing spellings because she's quite a good speller anyway. And I thought, well, we don't really need to do them. But a word search book is really useful for spellings because obviously you have to look at the words and find the spelling of the word in there. So it's a really good way of practicing spellings without actually sitting doing spelling test type things. So it's a really good way of doing that. And I mean, you can go in pound shops and buy them. We went in not long ago and they were selling lots of books, and these were more in the adult section type, but they've got word searches in there. And Sean says, oh, can I have one of them? And so we picked one up, just £1. And I say that, it might sound funny saying Poundland, just £1, but if you've got a Poundland, you know full well now that a lot of things are more than £1, but they were £1. So I picked up the word search book in there, and she sits doing it in her own time. So she likes that. Got spelling, word search spelling again, easy word search spelling. So she was doing them as well. Brilliant way of doing spellings. We bought a Key Stage 3 spelling, punctuation and grammar book, which she completed all of this in year 7. And she was enjoying that book. She did it quite well. Let's see. Lots of just different writing. Quite like these. I like them where you can actually write in them rather than having to keep having exercise books as well. So she did that one, completed that one. She also did Key Stage 3 English, which again, I think that's an all-in-one revision and practice. So it's the same format like the other revision and practices, where you get the writing and the read up and then you get the box at the bottom. But I'm not sure what we did with the book for that. I think she's still using the exercise book because it was a big A4 book we used, and she's been doing other stuff in it as well. So still using that book for different things. So yeah. She did that one. And then like, you know how you get special days and things like that, like Pudsey Bear days and Christmas jumper days, and it's Halloween and it's Easter and Christmas. You know, you get things like that going on. Well, we did a lot of Twinkle work. So we did loads of different things, maths things. I'll just grab pages. That was about bonfire night. And this is all year 7. She did all this in year 7. Did about World War One. I do want to bring the camera down a bit, really, but man. The history of children in need. And all these sheets were free in Twinkle. Although when she was in year 6, when all the children had to go home and be home educated, the Twinkle, I should say school, got free Twinkle access. So I did actually download quite a lot then, knowing that we were going to be home educating. So I did download quite a lot and saved it as well. So the vast majority is free. Well, it was all free in the sense that I downloaded it free, but some of it would have had to have been paid for if schools hadn't had to have sent them home to be homeschooled. As you can see there, she did some money bits and stuck money in a jar and mosaic maths. That's the thing, see, with maths, to get to think about numbers. It's nice to do it in a fun way, really, if they're not so good at it or not keen on it. It's a good way of seeing what they can do as well. St George's Day quiz for kids. So all kinds of things in there. Times tables. Now they're free on Twinkle, the times table sheets. I kept them downloaded, so every so often I can just print some off. Sometimes I get her to write them into a blank book off her head. So it's just testing her. She was doing one on plastic pollution. So she filled that book up. She filled it. And we started on another one. So she's done pictures. I'm not sure if she filled this one actually, but going to the back there, we got some free Twinkle downloads on Viking things, and that's what led her into the Viking workbooks. She took an interest in the Viking, said, want to know a bit more. I saw those Viking workbooks. That's how I got them, the activity book and the workbook. And we also took a trip to the ancient capital of Mercia, Repton, and to the church there, because they'd got like a Saxon crypt down below the church, and it also had got history of the Vikings obviously there. So we took a trip there to have a look there. And also she went to the museum in Derby and saw some of the artefacts that they'd found in Repton. So yeah, got Armed Forces Day. So she's done quite a lot in there. Free stuff, world maps, that's what she likes best. Some maths bits, writing in Vikings. So she filled them up. She did 2 big folders. So she's done all that work and 2 big folders. And in with that, we did do cooking. And it lasted for a while, but not too long. She lost interest in that. Recently, she's took a little bit of interest in it again. Beans, I've had the air fryer and the bread maker, but she's not traditional way of cooking. She's not so keen, but she's got to learn it. Then I'm cooking all the time anyway, and she does see what I do, so hopefully she'll pick it up if she doesn't want to actually practice doing it again at the moment. Another lesson that we did start doing that she soon got rid of was music. I think that lasted a couple of weeks. We did try it again at the start of this school year, year 9, but again it fizzled out. So that was all the things she did in year 7. We did loads of stuff, lots of book work, lots of sheets, loads of Twinkle sheets. But at that time she didn't do so much self-led work. We were more like school then. We were sort of in line with everything with school and still thinking, we got to do everything the way school did it. So that's what year 7 was like for us, really. It was more like school and lots of book work. But not that that was a bad thing. They were really good books. She's enjoyed doing the vast majority of them. Some she didn't. And by going through the books as well, it did give me an idea of what Sean's strengths were and weaknesses were, because she went to school. And you do get parents' evenings, and you do get your what do they call it once a year, reports. Did get them, but all the kids seemed to be told the same thing. The only thing different was the name. They all got told the same things, parents did, what their children were doing. So you weren't getting a true picture really of what they were doing, what they were capable of, what they liked, and what they could excel in, and what might be better to change. So by going through all the books, it did help me. I did find a strengths and a weaknesses, and it did help me immensely. And it sort of shaped where we went from there, kind of thing. As you'll see next week when we cover year 8, what we did in year 8. Although some of them are going to be pretty much the same, but yeah, next week we'll cover year 8. So I hope you found that interesting. If you're about to embark on secondary school years, there's plenty of things out there if you want to do bookwork. There's loads of bookwork. We didn't cover everything. There's some things that we didn't want to cover. There's some things that we didn't cover simply because was the reason we didn't want to take her into school. There are things out there that we didn't agree with anyway, so we didn't cover. But there's loads of stuff to cover, loads of stuff. The sky's the limit really, and there was just loads. So yeah, that was what we did in year 7. plenty of work to go out, and if you're about to embark on that journey, you know, then definitely have a look what's out there. If you want to do book work, you can do half and half book work, but self-led, or maybe you just want to go self-led and, you know, see how it goes. But whatever, there's no right or wrong way. Everything's what suits you best. So that was our year 7, like I said, and next week we'll cover year 8. It probably won't be so much to cover next week, but I'm just going to give you a review what each year was like for us, and then the week after we'll do the year that we're covering at the moment, and can sort of see the change as the 3 years have gone by. So thank you for watching. Next time I see you now, I'll be back on Friday. That's going to probably be a cooking one though. I've got an idea now what I'm going to cook. I think I know what I'm going to do in the air fryer. Whether it works, another matter, but I think I know what I'm going to do. So if you do hang around and watch me on the Fridays, then I look forward to seeing you then. If you just join me on the Tuesdays for homeschooling, I shall see you next Tuesday. But whenever I see you, take care of yourselves. Bye.